Welcome, everyone, to the May 5th work session of the Keystone Central School District Board of Directors. We will start with the flag salute and a moment of silence.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dietrich,
Present.
Mrs. Donahue,
Here.
Mr. Elling,
Present.
Mr. Johnston,
Here.
Mr. Knopf,
Here.
Ms. Lynch, Mr. Koch, Mr. Miller,
I'm here.
and Mrs. Smith.
Present.
7 members present.
All right, so the first thing tonight is a presentation from our construction trade students. Just a reminder, if any of you are up at the mic, speak right into the mic so everybody at home can hear you.
Tonight, Mr. Probst and some students from the construction trades program are going to give you a presentation of their program. And I'll hand it over to Mr. Probst.
I would just like to say that the request for this group came from a board member. And I think that in the past, our board has really appreciated hearing from students and about their programs and their experiences. So this, we've asked this group to come tonight, Mr. Probst, because at board member request. So just that's kind of why they're here.
We have a presentation here, some pictures that the students will explain to you some of the things that we're doing. I have Nate Akeley here, Kai Kissel, Leah Van, Arts Dalen, and Narissa Storm. I get it wrong every time, so I have to apologize for that. But they'll explain to you what they're doing, and they probably can explain it as well or better than myself.
Good evening. Here are some images of students doing masonry. I am excited to learn this.
I'm sorry, you can either sit in the chair and use the mic, or you have to hold it. It's not you, it's the microphones. You have to be really close.
Hi.
No pressure.
And there's people at home that can't hear you unless you talk right in the mic.
Okay,
You're
sorry.
doing great. You got it.
Here are some images of students doing masonry. I am so excited to be able to learn this skill in the near future.
The speakers from the Craft Workers Union and PP&L spoke to the class about careers and ways to conserve energy. The fire extinguisher training helps students learn fire safety for the workplace and in real life situations.
These are various projects we completed in the PCN Hand and Power Tool Dual Enrollment course. Through taking this course, we refined our finishing skills. This project was completed for the health occupation course. This project allowed task development for both construction trades and health occupations. It also saved the district money. It would have cost the district $4,000 to buy these stairs, but by utilizing our construction trades course to build them, it only cost $1,200. Through grant funds, the students enrolled in the construction trades program were able to hone their construction skills with hands-on learning by building an accent wall for the culinary arts program. We like to do live projects like these because it gives us a taste of the real world. In this particular project, we encountered some technicalities which made the project difficult, but ultimately will help us in the long run by teaching us issues that could happen on job sites. We are also building a deck for the outdoor seating for the culinary arts project.
you said that gives you a taste for the real world, and you were working with culinary arts. I see what you did there.
Pretty good fun.
Having these boxes built for the Beach Creek area is a great addition to their community. It helps get books to people who might not have the opportunity to go to the local library. I know if Lock Haven had book boxes, I would take one book and leave another. I am glad the construction trades class was able to help out a community using our skills we have acquired while being in this class.
The gymnastics podiums were a community service project for a local gymnastics organization. These podiums helped us address task grades.
This shed project was one of the best projects that I was able to be a part of. This project will be sent to Hannah Park for storage of the pickleball equipment. I had a lot of fun building this with a group that was as eager to do this as I was. 80% of this project was done by the girls in our class.
These model rooms constructed by students to address most of the construction trade. The model rooms help complete tasks for interior finishing and framing.
The Cabot Tool Grant allows students to receive tools from the trade.
These are the other projects in the construction trades class, placing a sink, picnic tables, and cornhole boards. These projects will help complete the task grade sheet.
This slideshow was constructed by Nathan Akeley, Joseph Hanley. Do you have any questions?
It's awesome seeing you guys do that.
Yeah.
Next board meeting, you'll be able to get out and sit on the deck out.
That'd be awesome.
I found it incredible, the cost savings on those steps. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew lumber was expensive, but geez.
It's cheap later.
When she came to me and said it was a good task, that's actually, there are two things. Physical therapy, geriatrics, they have to teach. your knee.
Right.
So I went to Bill and said, "Oh, this is ridiculous."
Same way with
Well-
the podium boxes. We saved the gymnastics from about $2,000 on the podium box. The ones we made, they desk also, so that's. We're currently doing some other stuff over at the middle school. We're gonna refurbish some benches and tables for over there, as well as the next project. So the class is really busy, and I have to say, I have really, really good students in that program. Come to school every day, eager to learn, and that makes it a lot easier.
It was very impressive, the whole cross section of things, projects that you've been able to do there. It's really pretty cool. You guys are doing a great job and keep it up.
Mr. Probst, how
Impressive.
many students are enrolled in your program this year?
Grade 50, I think, 49 or 50. I think one just left something down 49. So,
And is that higher than in previous years?
yes, that's a little bit higher. And I think the program's still growing. The projected numbers for next year are a little bit higher. In enrollment. So
Your eighth grade will next year.
That's
Or
awesome.
ninth grade, sorry.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I want to give Bill kudos because his hockey score there.
That's a huge.
Excellent.
That's
improvement.
awesome.
That's huge improvement.
Super.
And you're seeing an increase in the girls participating and taking the class?
I've always had females participating in
you?
the construction program.
Mhm.
The girls, depending on where we're working on our duty and task list, depends on the projects they have.
Mhm.
But this year, they had the opportunity with that shed project to actually,
Nice.
the girls really, they did the floor framing, they did the wall framing, they put the siding on, so they really did the whole project, so.
Keep at it. You'll be making she
Yep.
sheds later in life to escape the husband and kids.
There's this misconception out there that there's not a lot of place for females in the
That's right.
construction industry. And it's so far blown out that it's unreal because there's a tremendous opportunity for them.
It's awesome.
So, we go through that. And the other thing that we don't have in our slideshow here is every one of the students in the construction trades program earned a 10-hour OSHA certificate either this year or last year. So every student goes through that also. They all receive 4 different ladder certifications each year. You have to follow a check each year. So, there's a lot of things that happen down there in that program. And the reason that we can make those type of things happen is because the caliber of the students that are coming there want to be engaged and want to learn. Spread them out. And the program is truly a competency-based program where the students are kind of working at their own pace off the duty and task list that the state provides us for. So if you come down to our shop, you won't see all the students work on the same thing. They're spread out and they're all doing what's best for the students.
Nice. Thank you. so
Thank you,
much.
students.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you very
That's
much.
awesome. Thank you.
Okay, we do not have any public speakers from the public this evening. So we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Wish to thank Senator Chris Dush, who came to our district earlier this week to provide a senatorial citation to Bucktail student Dalton Perry, who's a Bucktail Virtual Academy student. He recently secured a state wrestling title. These citations are not easy to acquire. Additionally, I learned that Dalton is 1 match away from earning a spot on the World Wrestling Team, and we wish him the best of luck in Fargo this summer. Just want to acknowledge that April 27th was Secretary and Admin Professionals Day. So just want to give a huge shout out to all of those folks who work in our district and support us every day. I know this team was doing some special things for the people that work most directly with them. And although Patty's not here this evening, I just want to give a special shout out to Patty Stevenson for everything she does on a daily basis to keep me on schedule and help me accomplish everything that has to be done in a day's time. Additionally, this is Teacher Appreciation Week, May 2nd to the 6th, 2022. We are saying thank you this week and throughout the year to the extraordinary educators who have worked tirelessly with our students and families to keep things moving forward in the most challenging times in education. I know that we feel like we're kind of coming out of some of those really hard times and things are feeling a little bit back to normal, but there's still a lot of cleanup and trauma and some things that have happened during the last 2 years that our staff is still putting their best foot forward for us. And we appreciate everything that they do for our students. I think tonight's another example of how our teachers engage with our students and keep them focused on their future and what their future goals are. And tomorrow, in advance of tomorrow, if you didn't know, it's School Lunch Hero Day. And so I'd like to take the opportunity to recognize the hardworking professionals in our school cafeterias. May is also Mental Health Month. There are several activities that we are promoting. One is the Kcsd Mental Health Month. There's a fun-filled night going to happen at each of our high schools. May 24th at 6 o'clock at the Central Mountain Middle School gym and May 26th at the Bucktail High School gym at 6 p.m. as well. There will be mental health providers, Frisbee golf, self-care boxes, and fidget creations in the stadiums. I guess if it rains, it's in the gym. Is that correct, Christina? Thank you. There is also a self-care kit drive, the self-care for mental health. All the schools are accepting donations of poppets, fidgets, individual tissue packs, coloring books, crayons, pencils, positive notes or letters, sticker packs, Play-Doh packs, sport drink single packs, small craft kits, positive poster and or drawing things. So all of these things will go into the mental health crisis. Self-care kits will go to students who are experiencing mental health crises, homelessness, and or grief. And any students who donate to the mental health drive will be entered into a gift card raffle. And this raffle is sponsored by the Lycoming Clinton Health Choices. And thank you, Christina Manning, for everything you've been doing to coordinate these activities with the outside agencies and in Clinton County. I also want to share with you the good news that I've been asked to present at the National School Superintendent Summit in Washington, D.C. I have accepted the invitation and will be presenting with several of the administrative team members that are here tonight. The goal of this presentation is to share our journey to become a future-focused model school district. Our presentation will specifically focus on developing collective leader efficacy for impactful change. We are looking forward to sharing our story with the rest of the Learning 2025 network. And my goal is to have our district meet the criteria to be recognized as a Lighthouse District by 2025. Earlier this evening, I forwarded the board members and the administrators an announcement of the 13 schools in the nation that were recognized this year. And our plan is to be on that list as early as next year, if not the following year, as we start to refine a few more pieces. And our focus really is around having the students be a co-author of their own learning journey. So we have some things that we'll be coming forward to you with and some changes over the next year to help support that goal. And then I just would like to remind everyone that the district will honor the 2022 graduates with pomp and circumstance on June 1st at Bucktail and June 2nd at Central Mountain. Please mark your calendars because the celebration planning is underway and we'll be here in less than 20 school days. So that's all I have for this evening.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the committee reports. I believe the only committee that's met is the Facilities Committee.
That is correct, as far as I'm aware. I have a relatively short report here. We met on the 26th of last month, and we basically had mainly two items. First of all, you'll notice later on in the agenda here, there's a couple quotes in there for some mowers that we're recommending to be purchased. And there's kind of an explanation behind this. The one mower that is being purchased, they're both John Deere's and they're both identical mowers. But the one is kind of replacing, I don't know whether you recall or not, but about, I believe in July of last year, we had approved to purchase a Kubota, but it was on back order and we've never been able to get it. So we had an opportunity to get these two John Deere mowers, which are also very difficult, as are many things nowadays to get. But we had an opportunity to get these two mowers, but they were going to hold them for us for like 72 hours or something. So we had to go ahead and kind of give them tentative approval to do that. So the one is going to take the place of the Kubota that we had approved earlier last year. And the second one is going to be purchased with resources that we already had budgeted for this year as part of the replacement schedule for these mowers. So we're going, hopefully, everybody will be able to approve this without any problem. The second item we discussed, through the whole month of April, we have a series of building tours that we went on, and several of the board members were able to attend most of these. So we were able to hit all the buildings. We saw that I felt, and I think some of the folks that were with us, I was very pleased with the conditions of most of our buildings, because we have done a lot of work in the last couple of years, especially on 3 or 4 of these buildings in particular. And I think for the most part, the buildings are in pretty good shape. But we did, Susan did send out a Google Doc to all board members, those that were on the tours, or even if you are aware of anything that you would like to see, improvements or repairs or things that need to be done to the buildings, that you can add that to the Google Doc, and we can see if we can get it added, if we can put it on the 10-year plan or whatever. We also have Crabtree is finishing the report that they started here a couple of years ago before COVID. And they are going to be doing that report and have it ready to go for us, to look at some recommendations on the buildings. And one in particular that we want to look at is Liberty Curtain, and see what their recommendations would be for where we want to go with that. And it's probably the building that is most in need of some attention right now, where we want to go with that, and what maybe their recommendations will be for that. So we're going to hear from them in August. And the athletic facilities report will be presented by ELA, the company that is doing the survey for us and the report, the study. They're going to be reporting that to us at our May meeting, which is at the end of this month, May 31st, at 1:30. So they'll be anxious to see what they have to say, because they're going to be talking not only athletic facilities and recommendations as to what we may want to consider for that, but also traffic flow and some other things. So I think that's about it. So unless I missed anything.
Can I interject something on that? I just want to thank the principals and Rob and Wanda from Property Services that went around with us on the tours. And they did a good job, and we kind of put the principals on the spot. We asked them to tell us what's wrong with their buildings. And they gave us a lot of good ideas and different things and good information. For the most part, our buildings are in excellent shape. That is, as always, there's a few things we need to do here and there. But the building, I was very impressed with the way the buildings look. Obviously, the property service staff is doing an excellent job. I just want to thank them.
Yeah, and I'll echo what Butch has said. I know that Rob and Wanda and a lot of the staff were also, his staff were on board in those tours. And as the principals, I want to thank all of them for the time that they spent with us and answering questions and so on. And so it was good. It was nice to be able to go through and see firsthand. We have a whole lot of things on that 10-year plan, and it was really kind of nice. It's one thing to see it on a piece of paper, but to actually see, these things in person really makes a difference. So thank you for everybody that was involved with that. It was, I think, time well spent.
I think I wasn't able to go on the tours, but I think it's important to consider that even though everything does appear to be so well maintained and so taken care of, we can't get lax on the stuff that's on that 10-year plan, because otherwise that becomes deferred maintenance and then things start to go wrong. So we do need to continue to be proactive and active with everything that's on that plan. And some things may look really, really nice, but you don't know where mechanical systems are in need of replacement and so forth. And I think that the facilities committee has done an excellent job in documenting most of that.
Yeah, you're right. And we have to, and that's why we have things kind of laid out over the next several years as to what, and hopefully prioritized, but you never know. There are things that do go wrong. And unfortunately, they cannot be predicted. So, but I think for the most part, we have, I think, the property services people are doing a good job of keeping things moving and in good shape. So thanks again to all of them.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to our reports.
Tracy, can I interject something on that also?
Sure, Rob.
I just kind of want to echo what Bo had said there. I think that, the buildings are in nice shape, but it's also a joint effort among the board, administration, and property services. And continually working together is very productive in keeping these buildings up. So I thank the rest of the administration and the rest of the board for that, because it makes my job a lot better when we have the support of everyone. So thank you.
Thank you, Rob. All right, so moving on to our reports. We have the treasurer's report. Susan sent me a message that the financial reports will be updated and uploaded before the next meeting for us to review. And our enrollment report. We have any questions on anything in there? Bless you, Tyler. Anything else? Any questions? Okay. Moving on to board business. There's a draft here for the board committee meetings into next year. So I encourage each of the committee members to look them over and make sure dates are good for you, times are good for you, and make sure there's no conflicts with anything in the school calendar. We've tried to vet them out. But if you catch anything, let us know.
A comment on that. Personnel and
Yes.
Negotiations Committee is listed as meetings are scheduled as needed. Right now, due to the nature of our negotiation sessions with the various bargaining units, it would be impossible to lay out a regular meeting schedule because they're coming at us fast and furious with the number of meetings that we need to have.
Yes, they are. All right, and then number 2 under there is the AASA Learning 2025 National Summit that's being held June 28th to 30th in Washington, DC. Roger and I would like to attend that. We, as a board, we've approved the Learning 2025 program. So I think it is proper that board members are represented at these conferences so that we can learn what's going on and be able to update the rest of the board as we continue with the plan in this program. So this is paid for with Title II funds, not with taxpayer funds. These are Title II funds.
Yeah, based on your board policy, this is not required for this to have board action, but based on prior conversations with board members and requests, we felt that it was at the board's request that this is something that you should consider voting on as opposed to, just being told about it in an email or informed afterwards. So out of transparency to let you know, there is a team of folks going, and this is where we'll be presenting, as I mentioned earlier. And I really feel that these efforts for us to be future focused schools really goes classroom to boardroom, and having the support of the board and having some board members see firsthand, what are some other districts doing? Where do we stand compared to some of our peers? And how can you support that? So I hope that you'll consider supporting that request.
Any questions on that? Comments? And then we also need to appoint our treasurer for the board. That's we do every year. We usually appoint Susan since she is our business manager and she's in there anyway. So any questions on that? Okay. So next under policies, we have a lot of first reads. We do have the removal of policy 712. PSBA has recommended that it be replaced with policy 717, and that's cell phone usage. And then we also have one on website development, assignment within the district, confidential communications of students, withdrawal from school, food allergy management, diabetes management, medications, possession and use of asthma inhalers, EpiPens, student accident insurance, and attendance at meetings via electronic communication. These are most of them are just, we reviewed them for any type of language cleanup, any PSBA policy changes that have been recommended.
Most of them do not have any significant changes from current policy. But if there was anything recommended from PSBA, we took that in consideration at the committee level. And you're seeing we're moving through the 200s now because that's where we are on the policy revision cycle. And so you'll be seeing some 200 policies throughout the rest of this spring semester and throughout the summer. And I'm guessing because there are so many of them and they're student related, that we'll probably be seeing them into the fall. The last policy on there I did want to mention, we approved this policy not too long ago, but it was caught that there was a clerical error, something that the committee agreed upon changing or omitting from that policy was not taken out before it was brought to the full board. So there is slight language change here, has to do with I guess the extraordinary circumstance is the only thing that allows board members to participate remotely. And so the extraordinary circumstance, it was agreed upon by the board committee members that that would be removed. But again, it wasn't clerically removed when it came to the full board.
I just have a question on 717. How many cell phones do we have in the district?
That question was asked before. Not many. It's Chad, I'm not sure if you have an exact number. Yeah, less than 10.
Yeah, I would say less.
And most of them are used by Rob's people, I would assume.
So yeah, Rob Pacella's folks, they're out on a mower or so forth. They have them. None of the administrators have district provided cell phones that I'm aware of, other than possibly Stephen Hafley for athletics. He's out on fields and so forth so frequently.
Jackie, one of the other things with that is I'm working with Chad to get extension numbers so we can use the 3CX app, and most people will just have that extension then forwarded to their personal cell phone. So my hope is that we can eliminate almost all of the cell phones we have over there. It's just kind of a work in progress. I am working, through technology to get there.
Thanks, Rob, for reminding me of that, because part of the, one of the things that our technology department helped us with is this app by which the administrators and teachers can use the app. Basically disguises their personal phone number, or a call that would come into their classroom or into their office can be forwarded directly to their personal cell phones. And so that's been something that, I mean, does it help you folks out there? So,
Yeah, it's just been a discussion for a couple of years. I've heard about the cell phone use, and I talked to Rob about it a little. I know most of them are used for his people, but instead of having them on standby like they used to years ago, or give them pagers like they used to years ago, that they use a cell phone. So it's pretty much a necessity to have them when something breaks. So
I think that's something that we dealt with back whenever you were on the board before. We actually got all this narrowed down. So I think it's something that's really working.
Yeah, guys, one of the things that I'm finding is most of my people now don't want to carry two phones. They have a school number, but they have it forwarded to their personal number. So I've just asked that, why don't we just forward their extension number to their personal number through the app? So my hope is I can get all of those phones eliminated that I have over there. And we'll still be able to have communication with them and that sort of thing. It's just kind of how the times have changed some with cell phone usage.
as far as the policy goes, I think we just keep the policy in place in case the situation ever arises, even if we still have one or none.
All right, so we're moving on. We have the work session minutes and voting session minutes from last month, policy committee meeting minutes, and the facility committee minutes.
Bless you.
Do we have any questions? All right, moving on. We have our bills for payment for last month in the amount of $2,642,766.67. There is a real estate resolution. It's for real estate tax collections. And then we have our proposed final general fund budget, which we've been getting updates on. The final amount, proposed amount would be $82,467,833. Any questions on that?
Just a note that this year's total budget is lower than last year's total budget
That's good news.
by almost $500,000.
Nice. Lunch prices for the 2022-23 school year, they will increase a bit. 10 to 15 cents. Milk increases 5 cents.
That's only for adults though, correct?
The
Yeah,
adult
that's-
increase.
The adult, sorry, yes, the adult increases. And we are applying for the CEP program, again, for the free breakfast and free lunch for the kids. We have our student activities for the third quarter. Then the John Deere tractors that Mr. Johnston talked about. So one, it will not exceed $42,988.50.
That's each, right?
no.
No, that's a
That's
total.
total.
That's
Total, wow.
Pretty nice. Then we have an agreement.
How you did that.
have an agreement with our school for software services not to exceed $6,592 and be paid for by the general fund. And we have our yearly facility use agreement with Lock Haven University. Well, actually, it's a 5-year agreement, sorry, that we do. And then there is a parent transportation agreement. With any questions on any of those?
Just a comment on the bills for payment. Get on my soapbox here a little bit about the charter schools. I went through and did some calculating, and I don't know whether my math is correct or not, but I think I got them all, and and Susan could probably correct me, but I think I total up was like $150-some thousand in charter school, cyber school payments. Is that close? Or, and that's what we pay every month. And I guess don't necessarily have anything against necessarily the cyber charter schools, but I have a problem with, as we've discussed many times, the lack of accountability and how the money is passed through to them. I can't say enough. We need to try to find some way to get that charter school law changed and updated, and because it's, this is every month, $150,000+ that we send out to these cyber schools. And, I don't know that we get too much feedback from them, and I don't know how much accountability is there. And I just don't think it's right. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I think that law is archaic. It needs total overhaul, and our wonderful legislators don't seem to see a need for that. So,
It's just not even the accountability for the educational side of it, that, things were held to, standards were held to, that they're not, but also how they use their money,
right.
and advertising and things like that. So we need to level the playing field a little bit, because we're paying them and they're using their money for advertisements. That's our taxpayer money going out of the area and not being spent here.
Or for balloons and parades.
Yeah. So,
They
keep
a
talking
nice
to your legislators.
chunk of taxpayer money on that.
This board members here have been invited to 2 upcoming legislative sessions with local legislators, and there will be board members in attendance at both of those sessions. One is at IU 10, and I think that's next week on the 11th. And then there's another session that we've partnered with State College School District in Bellefonte. State College is hosting this year, and I believe that is on the 19th,
20th.
20th. Okay, so I believe that there'll be some of they planned it around the legislators' schedules, and hopefully they'll still be able to attend. I know that I've had some recent conversations with some folks from Senator Dush's office and trying to get some traction on the fact that CTC funding, any dollar that we budget for our career and technical center programs, which totals well over $1 million annually in staffing and equipment and so forth, is part of the calculation that the charter schools get a percentage of what we spend towards that. And no charter school in this area or that we send to has any type of career technical education approved programs. We by law are required to have them. We probably would have them anyway because we value them. However, why should we be paying even K-8 charters who don't have those programs the same amount of money that we are spending on ours? So I believe that Senator Dush is a huge proponent of career and technical center programs, and I anticipate having some further conversation with he and his team in the near future.
Just another excellent example of what I'm talking about.
So then we have an out-of-state field trip request from the Skills USA students to go to the national competition in Atlanta, Georgia.
Kurt, how many students are going? 3 qualified.
Nice. We have 3 students going. That's June 20th to 25th. Personnel. We have our regular personnel agenda, leave of absence, resignations, hirings. And then we also have club advisor hours for Bucktail, Central Mountain High School and Central Mountain Middle School. Are there any questions on that? And for athletics, we have the athletic personnel agenda with some volunteers for tennis and track, student game workers, and we have a couple resignations. Any questions on those? And then we also have an approval for the boosters summer fundraisers and camps for 2022 for Central Mountain and Bucktail Athletics.
There's a chicken barbecue on there in case anyone's interested.
I did have a
Always.
question on this one.
Yes.
It appears that with the camps or tournaments, some of these look to me as if they were camps or tournaments that they were hosting, but others looked as if they were listing camps or tournaments to which they'd be sending their folks. So it looks like they're listing both revenue and expense streams in the same place.
They're sponsoring
And
the
the
camps.
cheerleading
Are
ones.
they-
I'll get some clarification that on that prior to next week.
Not that I'm opposed to either of those, it's just not extremely clear which is which.
Unless they're sponsoring the camps.
So the one I'm looking at says camps or tournaments, that's, it's like there's a header above that designates it as a camp or a tournament.
So hosting or
That's it.
fundraiser to
Fees
attend.
charged.
Mhm.
But is that the fees being charged to them or the fees that they are charging?
The way I'm reading the cheer camp would be 300 per cheerleader is what we would pay. But I'm guessing that comes out of money that they had already fundraised. Is that correct?
Correct. However, if you look at volleyball, at Central Mountain Volleyball Booster Club, they're holding a basic fundamentals camp and an advanced skills camp where it looks like they're raising money for. So it's
So that is the fundraiser in itself, is what you're saying.
right. So some of these are listed as expenditures, others are listed as fundraisers.
We'll get some clarification there, Bo,
Yep.
before next week.
And that brings us to the end of our agenda. I did fail to mention at the beginning of the meeting, the board held an executive session from 6 PM to 6:49 PM for legal matters. Anyone on the board have any other questions about anything on the agenda? Martin, do you have anything else?
I have nothing else.
All right,
I'll make a motion then
I have a motion to
for
adjourn.
adjourn.
I'll second
All
that.
right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.